Hi everybody. How's everybody tonight? Welcome to my live. I know I'm a minute or two late. I barely got on. It was like 5:02 and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't have my camera set up or anything. So here we are. It's Tuesday again and it's the end of September. So today is the 27th of September and it's fall. It's officially fall. So that's exciting. I can tell you it doesn't feel like fall here in San Antonio. It's still, when I was leaving work and got into my car, it was pretty cool out. And I thought, wow, it feels like fall. It's really cool. And then I got in and checked the temperature and it was 90 out. But I guess considering the summer we've had, that is cool for us. So that's pretty fun. I hope y'all are having good weather where you are. I'm really worried about everybody in Florida right now. It's pretty scary, and I pray that everybody is going to be okay in Florida. So I thought tonight would be, since it's officially fall, let's get into some fall cards. So I've got some really fun fall cards to show you tonight. So thank you for joining me. Let me make sure I'm up on Facebook. And let me adjust this a little bit so I can see it better. That's better. Thank you for joining me. I thought I turned off the volume, but I seem to not do that every single week. Okay. All right, well, I think we're ready to get started, so I'm going to turn my camera down and let's start crafting. All right, let's get this adjusted here so you can see what we're going to be doing. Let me just check and make sure. All right, I think that's pretty good. Let me just see if I can move it just a little bit more down so my hands get in the picture easier. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. So, the first thing I want to mention tonight is that Saturday, the 1st of October, is World Card Making Day, and Stampin' Up! Is offering a fun little event, and it's not just for demonstrators, it's also for customers, and you can sign up for it. It's free. You can craft along if you like. You can just watch it, and so I think it's going to be really fun. And I think the time for Central Time is 3 p.m. and I think it's going to last for a couple hours. They're also offering this special right now, so you have cottage rose, cottage wreath, some warm welcome. I ordered this last night, the warm welcome bundle. And it's supposed to be here by Saturday, so I'm excited. I didn't have to expedite shipping or anything. It's going to be here. If you order any of these 3 bundles that they're going to be using on card making day, you get a free pack of iridescent pearls. So that's fun. So I just want to let you know that in case you wanted to sign up. So tonight's cards, we're going to be using some products from the mini catalog. Okay, and this is the Hello Harvest, the Rustic Harvest Suite. You can see some of the cards that they've designed here. And this paper is really beautiful for fall, so we're going to use some of this paper. We're going to use this bundle here with the stamps and the dies. And let me just see, is there something? I'm actually going to use a couple sentiments. This is it bigger on the next page. You can see just the bigger stamp set. And I'm going to also be using a couple sentiments from another bundle, which is also fall, which is Fond of Autumn. I like kind of the fonts and some of the things that it says, so we're going to use some of these in our projects also. So these are the cards that we're going to make tonight. We have Autumn Wishes, a nice little easy thank you card, wishing you the loveliest day, and then you are such a blessing. We're going to do some heat embossing with this, so that's going to be fun. All right, so let's get started. Let me show you the stamp set we're going to use up close. And again, that's the Hello Harvest. We're going to use the pumpkin, some of these sentiments, these really pretty flowers. So we're going to do a little bit of coloring, some stamping, some die cutting, and some embossing. Lots of fun stuff tonight. This is the die set that goes with it. Some of the dies I've already taken out and put aside because we're going to be cutting those things out when we're finished with them. And then for the first card that we're making today, I have these deckled rectangle dies, and you can see I use these to cut out the layers that we're going to put on the card. So that's really fun. I don't know, I always think of the deckled as kind of an 80s thing, right? When you had the deckled scissors, those were fun. If you're an old-time crafter like me. All right, and then here's that other stamp set where I'm just going to use some of the sentiments. So let me get out our pieces, and I've already cut some of them for us. Today we're going to start with Mossy Meadow, which is a beautiful green. It's one of my favorite greens that they have. And I've just got the usual card base, right? 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I just cut a piece for the inside. This is 5 1/4 by 4, and we'll be finishing that off later. And then another little scrap of the designer series paper. Okay, so let me show you the paper that we're going to be using. This is the designer series paper, and it is called, I think it's Hello Harvest, Rustic Harvest. Okay, lots of fun. I love the pumpkins. It's got prints, it's got fall leaves. You could color this with blends. This is one of my favorite colors, and I love the way these colors all work together. Lots of fun prints, things on the other side that you can use. This we're going to be making a card with, and as you can see, it's just a piece of 12 by 12, and it's just so easy to cut out of here, and the card almost makes itself, right, with just that paper. So here's some acorns and leaves. So lots of fun. I love this pattern too. We're going to use this one. So really fun pack of paper that we get to work with. Okay, so we have our card base ready. Now for some layers that we have. And this is from that package of designer series paper that I just showed you. And that's one of the deckled rectangles. Then I did another size of the deckled rectangle in this color right here, which is Cajun Craze. And then this smaller layer with the Autumn Wishes, this is the innermost layer. This is So Saffron, okay? So we need to make a couple other pieces for our card. These little pieces right here, they're kind of like pumpkin vines. I just cut those out with the dies. And you can see there's 3 little dies that you can cut these little swirly vines out of. And that's what I did, and I did that in Mossy Meadow. So we've got a couple of these set aside for our project. So I'm going to start by stamping the pumpkin, and I'm going to do that in Memento Black. So I'll get my ink pad out, and here is the pumpkin stamp. We're just going to ink this up and stamp a pumpkin right onto the Cajun Craze. Easy, that's it. That's all we're going to do with that for now. And then I'm going to take the flowers from that same stamp set, and you can see how pretty they are. We're going to stamp that on a piece of basic white. And so I'm just going to stamp right like that. And then I'm going to take, they have a single one too, so I'm just going to take this little single flower, and I'm also going to stamp that on our basic white. And then what we're going to do is color these. So I'm kind of sticking with the same colors throughout the whole thing, right? So the blends that I'm going to use are going to be the So Saffron and the Cajun Craze and the Mossy Meadow, right? So I'm just using the light of these 2 colors, and then I have the light and the dark of So Saffron. So I'm going to start with the dark So Saffron. Our markers have 2 ends. You can use the little bullet tip end, or you can use the brush. I prefer the brush. It's just easier for me to use. So what I'm going to start by doing is just coloring in the middle parts of the flowers in the darker So Saffron. And I'm just going to go around and do the middle of all those right now. Although it's best to work into small spaces, small areas, so you can blend them before they dry, right? So let me get my light So Saffron going here. And we'll color these really pretty flowers in our fall colors. Anybody have leaves falling where they are yet, or the leaves turning color? Our leaves don't turn color till about December usually, so we're not experiencing the beautiful fall here in San Antonio, but maybe you guys are starting to see the leaves. When is peak in Chicago? I'm not sure. I want to say it's like the first week in October, maybe the second week in October. I'm not sure. Every year I think I'd like to get back there in the fall and see the beautiful leaves, because I really miss that. And by the time I get there for Thanksgiving, the leaves are gone. They're all off the trees by then, so I kind of miss that. All right, flowers are done. I put the right cap on the right marker here. Okay, next I'm going to take my Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blend, and we're just going to go ahead and color the leaves. There's a lot of leaves, and they're very small. So I'm just using my little tip to try and stay in the lines and do all these little leaves. But I like the way these colors work together. You could use any colors you want on this. Use any markers that you have. I'm gonna make that a bud. I do that every time when I'm doing the leaves. I should remember to do that yellow before I even start doing the leaves. Okay, we're almost done with all these leaves. Got a couple more. Okay, next we're gonna take the light Cajun Craze and we're just gonna do the middle of our flowers. All right, did I miss anything? Let me just go back with the So Saffron and do this one bud of the flower right there. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is do the insides of the flowers, okay, in the Cajun Craze, the light. Nice and quick coloring for that. Then I'm just gonna do the little insides of these little poofy little dotty things. What kind of flowers would those be? Anybody know? I'm not even sure. Okay, and then I see I missed one more bud, so I'm gonna go back and get that, and then we're done with the coloring. Okay, coloring is done. Let me show this up close so you can see. Pretty colors, right? Nice fall colors kind of match what we're doing. All right, so now what we've got to do is do our die cutting. So let me start by setting up our dies. This pumpkin die is going to go right over the pumpkin, right like this. Let me get it lined up properly. And then I'm just going to set a tiny bit of Post-it tape on. If you guys hop on, say hello so I can see who's on. Okay, and this die works really well for cutting out the flowers beautifully. So let me get that all lined up. And I think that looks pretty good. Get my piece of tape ready. And then we're gonna run this through our die cutting machine. And I think I can fit these through the mini, so I'm gonna pull the mini over. All right, this one, sometimes I get confused with this one to see if it's right side up or upside down. But there's a certain way it needs to go. And it's like that. Okay, so we're ready to start putting things through our die cutting machine. I'm gonna pull over the mini because I think it fits better underneath the camera. Move this stuff out of the way. And set this up. I love the little mini. It's just so cute. You can take it anywhere. It's just portable and handy. Okay, so here's my 2 plates. Let me line this up. I'm gonna put my pumpkin right there. See if I can fit both of them at the same time. I think I can. And we'll put the top plate. My plates are getting a little warped. It's probably time for me to get some new plates. Okay, put that through. Okay, hold on. Let me flip it this way and see if it helps a little bit go in because of the way it's warped. Uh-oh. Hold on. I'm having a problem. Let me try one at a time. Otherwise, I'm just going to get the big one out and we'll see what happens. Okay, I think it likes that a little bit better. So there's one. We'll do the other one. I think the Post-it tape held up pretty well and didn't move, so that's good. Okay, and those will be nice and cut out for us. Okay, so I think we have pretty much all our pieces and we can just start assembling our card. Just put this stuff aside so I don't lose my dies. I just knocked a flower on the floor. Okay, that came out pretty good, right? All right, there's my dies. Let me find my flower. Okay, so let's just start by putting our layers together. We'll do the inside part last. And we'll start just by putting some seal on the first layer. And we'll center that right in the middle of the card. Okay, then we'll do these layers next. before I put this layer on, I do want to stamp my Autumn Wishes. So let me get my memento out again, and we'll stamp it right on. And I want to do that before, hold on, I'm looking for my, here it is. Before I put anything else on my card in case I have to redo it. Okay, so I want that right across the top. And that came out good. So I think we're ready to put that down. And we'll use some seal to attach that to the Cajun Craze. These inks dry pretty quickly, so I can just flip it over to put my adhesive on the back. All right, we're gonna center this. And then I'm gonna go ahead and pop this layer up so it sits up a little bit. Okay, right like that. Then next we're gonna put our pumpkin on, and we'll put the pumpkin up a little higher also. Right about here. Maybe just a little bit higher so we have enough room for the flowers. And we're gonna flip the flowers over, and these are gonna go right at the bottom like that, which I think looks really pretty. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to put some dimensionals just at the very bottom, and I think I'm just going to put one, and then I'll put some seal up here at the top where it's going to attach to the pumpkin since they're on 2 different levels now. And we're good just like that. I'm going to pop up this other flower. And we'll put this near the top of the pumpkin. Right like that. And then we're going to take our 2 little, what are these called? Anybody know? Are they little vines? Are they tendrils? What are those called exactly? I'm not sure. I'm going to get a little scrap. Whoa. Hold on. Creating a disaster on the side. Okay. And I'm just going to use, now I could also get my silicone mat out to do this on, or you can do it on scrap paper. Either one is fine. Sometimes it's easier for me just to get out the scrap paper. I don't even think I cleaned my silicone mat from when I used it last. And you know, you can just peel that glue right off. It just rolls right off. But I did not have time to do that. So it's a little messy. So put these wherever you think you'd like them. So I'm just going to put one on this side here. And then one coming off the other side going across. And that's the front of our card. And I thought this card was fine just the way it was. I didn't put any rhinestones or any ribbon or anything on the front of this card. The inside I just kept nice and simple, again with the basic white on the inside, and then I just had another scrap of the DSP to put across the bottom, just kind of like a last minute type addition. Now, you could also make it a little fancier inside. You could stamp another greeting from the set. You could stamp, you know, some more flowers in the corner, you know, whatever you want to do to make the inside look nice too. But that's the first card for tonight. And it definitely screams fall, don't you think? All right, let's go to the next one. So the next card is going to be really easy. We're going to be doing this thank you card. And the Designer Series paper did most of the work for us. So... and then the thing we added is, you guys know I love these scalloped contours dies and use them every week, right? So we use that. Let me get out my pieces and I'll show you what I did. Okay, so you can see I just used the basic black and I cut it right out of this size scalloped contour die, right? So I just cut that ahead of time. So that was nice and easy. I started with basic black for the inside, for the card base, same measurements as before. I have a piece of the Designer Series paper from that same pack, and this time I picked this nice yellow pattern. And this is 5 1/4 by 4. That's going to go right on the black, so we might as well just start by putting that layer down right away. feel like my seal's a little wonky. There it goes. It was kind of off to one side. All right, so let's center this. Isn't that pretty? Okay, so on this layer then, we're gonna take that designer series paper that I showed you, and I just cut a piece out of that black. This piece happened to have a little butterfly on it. The first one I didn't have a butterfly. So just whatever piece you think looks good, you can cut this out to go in the middle. And this is okay, I know this sounds crazy, but I wanted all these little dots to show, okay? So it's 4 inches, but it's 2 11/16. That's a crazy measurement, right? But it's going to be perfect. So I think I'm out of seal. Let me grab another one. There we go. A nice full one. Hopefully that won't cause us any problems. So I'm going to center it just so I can see these little dots showing around the border because I like it like that. Okay, so that border's good like that. All right, and before we pop this up, we're going to use some of the ribbon. Now this ribbon I'm using comes in a 2-pack, and it's Old Olive. I'm going to use the shorter piece that I cut right now. And it comes with Sahara Sand also. But I love this. This green is really versatile and matches a lot of things, and I think it's really pretty. So that is the ribbon I'm using. I'm just going to tie it around what I have so far and tie a bow right about here. Make sure that I'm in the camera. I think I'm working high enough okay tonight that everybody can see what I'm doing. And we'll just maybe make that a little bit smaller. Okay, let me trim off the ends. Okay, so we're going to pop this layer up. And we'll do that with some dimensionals. Have you guys used these dimensionals? They are so awesome by Stampin' Up. I've used other brands in the past, and I love these because they're not too high. They're just like the perfect size, and I love the shape of them. They're just really convenient. And they're inexpensive too. I think you can get this whole pack of Stampin' Dimensionals, which has 3 sheets in it for like $4 1/4. And then if you get a discount, if you're a demonstrator, whether you're a hobby demonstrator or trying to sell, then you get the 20% off too. So that's pretty awesome. Okay, so that's what we have so far. Now we're going to do our sentiment. And for this sentiment, I don't know why, I went to a bunch of random dies when I did this class. So I actually took this one because it fit around the thank you really nicely. And this is from the stitched rectangle dies, and I just used this one die. You don't have to use that. You could just cut out the rectangle around the thank you. That's no problem. But I find that's another really versatile set that I can't live without. I love all the basic sets of the dies because you can use them for all your cards in many, many different ways. So I'm going to do the thank you in Memento Black. Let's see if I can get it right where it's supposed to go on here. And then we'll make that pop up over the ribbon. So I'll do a little bit of top and bottom with the dimensionals to kind of straddle the ribbon. This card's super easy, right? You could do a bunch of these thank you notes easily with this paper. Okay, there's our thank you. Now I've got some matte black dots, and we'll add some of these just to embellish a little bit. So let me get my take your pick tool. And we'll start with this size right here and a little one like that. And then we'll just put one more over here like that. And that's it. Easy breezy, right? That was an easy card to do. And I like it. It's very fall. It doesn't have pumpkins, but it's still fall. Nice fall colors. Okay, card number 2 finished. All right, next we're going to do Wishing You the Loveliest Day, and I love the pumpkins on this, and I love this embossing in the background. So we'll get started on that one. I'm going to put this aside. Hold on one second. I'm just going to get a quick drink. It's a little warm in here. Okay, so we're going to use this embossing on this card, this embossing folder. And this is the quatrefoil folder, and it is so pretty. And I think we used it on a card last week too. All right, so here's our pieces for this card. So we started with basic black again for the card base, 8.5 by 5.5, square to 4 1/4. This one's going to open this way. And then I have pre-cut the other pieces. So this piece, I went just a little bit bigger than the 5 1/4 by 4. So this one is actually 5 3/8 by 4 1/8 because I wanted just to have a skinnier black border around. So this is the piece we're going to put through our embossing folder, and we're just going to line it up. You can see that there's a line, so you can get it straight. So the pattern is nice and straight on your piece of cardstock. I'm going to be pulling out my big machine because obviously this folder is too big to go through the smaller machine, right? And we will send it through. Clean up for a second. I'm going to move it down just a little so it's not hitting my camera stand. All right. I'm going to send the folder through with the fold first. Hopefully you can see the layers that I have here. And this will go through nice and easily, and it's going to emboss that beautiful pattern onto our piece of paper. All right, let's see what we ended up with. All right, isn't that pretty? I just love, love, love that pattern. Okay. So that's going to be our first layer that we're going to have. And then these other pieces that I cut. So I have Mossy Meadow again. And these are going to be our little backgrounds for our pumpkins. So these are all the same, all 3 pieces here. And these are 3 3/4 by 1 1/2. Okay. Then I cut the designer series paper. And these are going to go right like this, and you can see if you join them together, they complete the pattern, right? So these ones that I cut out are 3 1/2 by 1 1/4. Okay, so just a little bit smaller than the other ones. So these pieces are cut and ready to go. So let's just start doing a little bit of assembly, then we'll do the stamping. So again, I'm going to take my seal and just add some. I'm going to add, because this is embossed and I want it to lay right, I'm going to add a lot of seal to this. And then I've got a skinny border, so I have to be careful when I'm centering it so I don't mess it up. And then we have our nice skinny black border. Oh, I might have got that just a tiny bit crooked, but I think it's going to be okay. All right, so then let's take these pieces of our designer series paper and seal them onto the pieces of the Mossy Meadow. So we'll center each one of them, and then we'll have our 3 panels for the card. Hold on, I don't think I cut these right. Let's see. Did I? Well, not quite. They need a little bit off the bottom. But, okay, we're going to do it like this. Since that's the way I cut it, we'll just put it even at the bottom there. I don't think that's going to look bad. I did not measure correctly. Okay, now our 3 panels are finished, and I'm going to kind of arrange them onto the card before I put them down. And I'm trying to see, did I use dimensionals to put these down to make them pop up a little bit, or did I just attach them? Let me see what I did. I just glued them. I did not use dimensionals, so we'll do the same thing again. All right, do we like the placement? It's hard to get everything even, right? All right, so I'm going to start by doing the middle one. I think we're happy with that. And I'll add some seal and put that one right about there. And then I can place the other two. Do you guys like pumpkins? Do people still do a lot of carving of real pumpkins every year? It's so easy to buy them in the store now with their pre, you know, the plastic ones that are pre-cut and pre-lit. You just plug them in and you're done. But you can get so much more creative if you do real pumpkins, right? I don't buy pumpkins here in Texas because it's so hot that I feel like they rot really quickly. So I kind of don't use any real pumpkins anymore. Okay, I'm going to also use that same ribbon that we used before, and I'm going to go around the card on the inside and just do a bow over here. Pull that over a little bit. And even though it's a little bit different green, I think it still coordinates nicely with the green that we have. Hold on, I want this just a little bit like that. Okay. All right, there's our bow. Let's just trim the edges off. And I think I'm going to put a little glue dot under the bow to kind of hold it in place. So let me do that. And I'm a little twisted right here, so I'm going to untwist it like right about here and then just put a glue dot underneath to hold it. So let me get, you might take your pick and just pull one of these glue dots off. And I'm just going to put it right about there so it kind of stabilizes it for us. Okay, now this is going to be the tricky part. I don't know if I can pull this off. I've already die cut this. Okay, this is one of the dies in that set that we're using. And I have the stamp that says wishing you the loveliest day. Now can I line it up perfectly? Because what I did on this card and what I do on a lot of them, stamp it first then line up the die, right? It's so much easier that way. But we're going to give it a shot and see if we can do it that way. All right, I'm going to bring it down a little. Hopefully you guys can still see it here, but I feel like, and I'm actually going to stand up because I think I'm going to have to get directly on top of it. Okay, that didn't come out great. So I'm going to say, no, I can't do that. Not well anyway, right? So now we're going to stamp it and then cut it. All right, so I'm going to get out my little die cutting machine again. I was hoping we could save a minute or two by doing it the other way, but nope, too tricky. All right, let me find my die. And that's this one right here from the set. And let's just line it up and use a tiny bit of tape to hold it in place. And doing it this way, it'll come out perfectly. It's kind of a cool, I haven't really seen one that goes around. It's kind of like a banner, right? And there's a couple of Christmas banners. There's like a Christmas banner set that's out right now. So I feel like the banners are kind of popular with Stampin' Up! This year. Let me flip my... All right, hold on. I think my plates, it's probably time for me to get some new plates because these are getting warped from being used too much. If I can't get this to work, I'm just going to run over and do it on my other machine. There we go. All right. There we go. All right. Hold on a second to get out a baby wipe. So far, no ink on my fingers. I did get some on my workspace, but doing pretty good with keeping my hands clean tonight for a change. Just wipe this off before it gets on something. Okay. All right, let's pop this up, and then this card's going to be finished. And we'll center it right there. And that's card number 3. All done. Nice and easy, right? I like the look of it. I especially like the embossing in the background. Okay, this next card has a couple pumpkins on it. And we're going to make our own designer series paper in the background, right? With some leaf stamps. That's going to be kind of fun. And we're going to do a lot of embossing on this one. So let's get started on that one. And here are our pieces. Now I've pre-cut some of the things already, so let me just go through the pieces really quickly. So this is Cajun Craze, 8.5 by 5.5, scored a 4 1/4. Again, this one's going to open this way. I have a piece of basic white, 5 1/4 by 4. This is the one we're going to stamp our leaves on. Then I have this piece of Mossy Meadow, and this is 5 1/4 by 1 3/4. And I used an embossing folder on this one, and I've pre-embossed it. And this is the gingham embossing folder. So that comes out with kind of a gingham pattern, which I think is going to look really pretty. And then I've got a couple of scraps of pumpkin pie and Cajun Craze that we're going to stamp and emboss our pumpkins with. I cut out a whole bunch of those little tendrils just with our gold cardstock. And then I have just this little tag that I cut out that we're going to stamp and emboss for You Are Such a Blessing. Okay, and that little shape right here, remember when I said I got crazy with dies this week? Yeah, that's this shape right here, and this is from the Stylish Shapes dies. Okay, so that's where that came from. All right, so let us start first with stamping our leaves, and I'm going to get a little piece of paper for the background, so I don't, because I'm going to stamp off a little bit of the paper. And I think I'm going to start with the Cajun Craze stamp pad, and here's the little leaf that we're going to stamp. What kind of leaf is that? Do you guys know? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe it looks like an oak leaf to me. So we're just going to stamp some random leaves in different places, not too close together, and kind of in different directions. And we're going to do a total of 3 different colors for this one. Let me put another one like right here. And I think that looks pretty good. I think I'm going to stop right there with that one. Next, I'm going to do some of the So Saffron, the color we've been using tonight. Before I do that, I need to clean off my stamp. So I'm just going to clean the stamp off really quickly with my chamois. I'm going to put that aside because we're going to do it again. All right. And we'll do some So Saffron leaves. And maybe one right here. And another one like here. Got to leave a little bit of room for some green ones, right? So maybe we'll do a little yellow here. And maybe a little yellow right on the edge right there. All right. Let's clean off again. And we'll do the last color, which is Mossy Meadow. This card's taken a little bit longer because we're going to do the embossing, right? And we had to do our own paper. So let's put one like this. One kind of right in the middle. Off over there. And one right about here. Okay, that looks like pretty good spacing to me. And we're going to let that dry for a minute and do some other stamping and embossing, because what we're going to do is we're going to take this little stamp that comes in the set, and we're going to do some gold embossing in between. But I want to make sure that this ink is really dry so we don't get any of the embossing folder on it, powder on it. So I'm going to just put that aside for right now, and we will stamp our pumpkins So let me clean off the pumpkin stamp because we used that with the Memento Black. And I'm going to stamp this in Versamark because we're going to put embossing powder on it. Okay, so we're going to use our Versamark stamp pad. And we're going to do our 2 pumpkins. One here on the Cajun Craze, and we'll stamp another one on the pumpkin pie. And then we're gonna put some gold embossing powder on both of those. And then we'll use our heat tool. So let me just sprinkle our embossing powder on. That looks pretty good. Let's do the other one. Give it a little flick. That looks good. Put this aside for a minute. And let's get out our heat tool and make these beautiful. Trying to see outside to see if the sun is setting yet. The sunset, when I was driving, I worked late last night, so I didn't get home till late. And the sunset was absolutely gorgeous last night. It was so pretty. All right, you can see that gold starting to come through. There's one. Okay, those look pretty good. What do you think? They came out good. Embossing takes a minute, but I think it's worth it because it comes out pretty and pretty shiny. Okay, 2 more things we need to emboss. One is what we talked about, and hopefully this ink is dry enough that we can do it. And the others is our label. So we'll do these together. So let's get the Versamark again. And I'm gonna do You Are Such a Blessing. And you could use any sentiment that you want. You could make this a thank you card. You could make it a birthday card. Okay, and then we're gonna just take some of these, I'm not even sure what you call these little swirly things. I'm just gonna put some of them randomly in between. Especially around the edges where they're gonna show. And then we're going to just go ahead and put some embossing powder on those. And I think that'll look really good. I think that's pretty good. All right, that's the last thing we're going to emboss. So let's get this finished. This one's really small, so I'm probably going to use my reverse tweezer so I don't burn my fingers. Be careful with this one because it's so close to the edge. Okay, now this one. Now, even if the embossing powder sticks a little bit to the leaves, it's okay because it's still going to look pretty, right? And you can see this isn't really set up. The leaves are not perfect, right? They're so it's set up to look like, I don't know, could we just say a little bit messy or artsy or whatever you want to call it, the way. So it's not intended to be perfect, I guess is what I'm trying to say. All right, I think that's pretty good. We got all our little areas that we put that on, and we're ready to use our heat tool. Put this away so I don't blow it all over. I'm gonna get my tweezers out and do this one first. As a matter of fact, I think grab it like that. Okay, here we go. pretty good. All right, it seems to go faster once it's already hot. It looks like I stamped one here and I missed it a little, so it may be too late, but I'm gonna just add a little bit of powder and see if it'll still stick to that little one right there. And it does. Okay, it's just a little bit lighter, but let's heat that one up too and we'll be done. Okay, there we have it. What do you guys think of the paper that we made? I think it looks pretty. All right, we're ready to start putting things together. Let me just run this across really quick to make sure our surface is still clean. Okay, let's put this last card together. So I am just going to take this layer first. I'm not going to put this down first. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to add this layer on top of it. And this is the one that we embossed in the Mossy Meadow. Things are getting messy in here. And we'll put this one right across pretty much the middle here. So we don't have much green showing, but that's okay. I'm gonna, on the other one, I had it go all the way to, it straddled both sides of the Cajun Craze. That's why it's so long. On this one, I'm just gonna have it just do that layer. And so I'm just gonna trim off this end right here. And then I'm gonna do some wrapping of ribbon. And this time I'm gonna also use gold. Hold on, I got some paper stuck to me. I think I glued some paper to my finger. All right, this is a really beautiful gold ribbon, and we are going to tie this around, and then we'll add this layer after we tie it. So let me make sure I have enough room. I can see where I got that paper that I glued to my finger from. All right. Stock up on this ribbon this year because this ribbon is a carryover from last year, and last year it kept going on back order, and it was like my favorite ribbon last year, especially as we start getting into Christmas and start doing Christmas cards with some nice pretty gold accents. And it's just like the perfect gold ribbon. I'm just in love with this ribbon. Can you tell? Okay, there is our bow. Looks pretty good, nice fresh ends. All right, let's put our pumpkins down. Move that over just a little bit. We can go ahead and put this down now. You can see what I did on the back here. I have a little bit, but that's not going to show at all, so I'm not even worried about that. Da-da. Right in the middle. Good. Okay. Now we've pretty much got our card base set. Let's put our pumpkins on. Now, you could fussy cut these too. If you didn't want to put these through your machine, you could also just cut around the edges. So let's just try that. Like, let's say you didn't have the dies. These pumpkin shapes are pretty easy. So let's just cut these out this time, just to kind of show you, you don't really need to have the dies. You could just order the stamp set and you would be just fine. It's a nice, easy shape to cut out. So we're going to cut out both of these pumpkins. I think they look really good with the gold. I like gold accents on everything. All right, there's the one in Pumpkin Pie. Let's cut out the one in Cajun Craze. Anybody doing any fun fall activities so far? Are the pumpkin patches open already? I don't even know. Sometimes fall was always my favorite season in Chicago, so it was nice just to walk and just marvel at the beautiful colors of the trees. So pretty. Okay. All right, there we go. We've cut those out. And let's put them on. And we're, of course, going to use some dimensionals. We're running a little bit long tonight. Sorry about that. This card took just a little bit with all the embossing. So we'll put this one kind of here. And the other one, I'm going to pull off this dimensional. And I'm just going to add a little seal on this side since it's going to be on top of the other pumpkin. Pull this off. And we'll put this one here. Okay, we will put our sentiment. And then we're just going to add some more of those tendrils that we've already die cut in gold. Now those I'm going to say you need the dies for. You cannot cut these out this fine, right? Definitely not. Okay, so let's get out the glue. And I've got 4 of these little ones. And it looks like there's another piece that needs to be popped out right here. Good. All right, so I'm just going to use my glue pen. And just go ahead and put these on randomly. Whoops. Hold that in place for a minute. I'll put one right like this. And this one I didn't add any rhinestones to either. I just liked it the way it was. I think all the gold embellishments were enough with the embossing, so. No rhinestones. This whole night all we did was use those 3 black matte dots, right, on that one card. Which is unusual for me because I like to add bling to everything. And let's just put this one coming off like this. And hold it down for a minute. Okay, that is it. Let me put my glue away and show you. That is our 4th card. And again, like I said, you can make this any kind of card that you'd like, but it's a nice, I like these fall colors. So let's show back the cards that we made. We started with Autumn Wishes. We have the nice thank you cards with the Easy Designer Series paper. All right, the next cards dropped on the floor. So let me see if I can find them. Here they are with the pumpkin. Wishing you the loveliest day, and then you are such a blessing. I think that's a really nice suite of fall cards to start with. So the next time we meet is going to be next Tuesday, and it's going to be October, so it's going to be time to start Halloween cards. So let me show you what I have in store for next week. Let me just cover a couple of quick things before that. Let you know that if you would like the project measurement and supply sheet, you can just email me. And that is at sunshineandsparklestamping@gmail.com, and I'll be happy to send this to you. I don't send people a bunch of crazy emails, so you don't need to worry about that if you email me, that's going to happen. Reminder, Perfect Partners ends the 30th, and those are the ones where they added the die sets, so now you can get the bundles for these 6 sets. And lastly, Paper Pumpkin, the October 10th is the last day to sign up for this cute little Christmas kit. Okay, so let's show you what we've got coming next week. We've got some really fun cards, some Halloween cards, Trick or Treat, You're So Sweet. And then we're going to do this one with this really pretty glitter washi tape and these little haunted houses. Then we're going to do a fun shaker card next week, kind of with this pretty green color. I like that. And then we're going to do some little treat bags. We've got a little gift card holder, and then we've got a little treat that you could hand out to trick-or-treaters or people at work or at school. Just where we have these Ghirardelli milk chocolate caramel apple squares inside. So just some really fun projects next week. I hope you can join me. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope y'all have a great rest of the week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.